So, welcome to our emotional support healing. We're going to start as we always do, and we're going to clear our energy. So, I'm going to have you breathe. Take a few deep breaths first through your nose, out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose, out through your mouth. This helps calm the nervous system down. One more time, in through the nose. Slowing the breath down, out through the mouth. Beautiful. I want you now to make sure you're in a comfortable place. Eyes are closed. I'm going to run an alignment now called static clearing. This is one of my personal energy clearing alignments. And what this alignment is going to do is it clears literally like the static of all emotions and energy you have picked up throughout your day, through interactions with other people, out in the world, through society, through technology, all sorts of things. And then I'm also going to bring in, speaking of technology, I think for this it's important, another alignment that's a newer alignment called technology defrag. And what that alignment, these are both some of my personal alignments, what that alignment is going to do is it actually helps to deconnect you from technology inputs. A lot of our emotions, a lot of our dopamine receptors, all of that is connected to the feedback and the energetic connection we have through social media, through phone, through TV, through devices. So that alignment came for me when I noticed that my kids were getting overwhelmed and I was getting overwhelmed with the constant onslaught. And of course, it's a beautiful way to connect to people, but if we don't disconnect and we don't kind of clear all of the energy and all the baggage we can pick up when we're energy sensitive from technology and from our connections through it, right? Because think about it, even when you're not intentionally interacting with people, like I'm interacting with you all now, I've connected or energetically somewhat exchanged, maybe even for a millisecond, with hundreds and thousands of people already today, just because they literally are in my feed, or they had literally commented on somebody else's post that I was interacting with. And we're not always aware that we pick up so much of other people's stuff constantly. Okay, so we're going to start by clearing all of that. Okay, so take a deep breath in. Before we ground in, so I'm just going to call in the static clearing and the technology defrag and the sacred light relationship healing between you and everybody on this call now and later, and you and I, divine love and light creator, change it. Beautiful. Just feeling the beautiful golden light of Source gently rain down, washing off any debris, any emotion, any energy, any beings that are not yours. Just cleansing that off of your whole energetic being. Okay. And then we're going to set up our grid system to run the rest of our healings today. So I want you to first bring awareness to the very land you're sitting upon. For those of you joining me for your first time, this may be a new experience for you, but the sacred land that you sit upon, not the earth as a whole, but the physical land you are on right now, unique to where you are currently living or happen to be sitting on today. It may be different. Maybe you're traveling, right? That land has its own unique energy, its own unique spirit, and has called you into relationship. And that holds our sacred container. So we always begin by bringing awareness to this land and asking permission, because we are not in control. We are not conquerors. We are not sovereign over the spirit, but we are in co-relationship to all these energies. And this shifts the dynamic massively when we do this. Okay. So I'm going to go through activating our web grid rather quickly, but just kind of follow along and allowing whatever you see or feel to come forward for you. Okay? So let's begin. Bringing your awareness to the very land you sit upon today, we give gratitude to you, O sacred land that has called us into relationship. We ask permissions and blessings upon this healing today. Thank you. We also ask permissions of the wise counsel of the original stewards of this land. We ask your permissions and blessings. Thank you. For some of those who this is their first time doing that, that may alone be big for you. So just breathe into that, because I can feel that clearing energy for some of you. Not being in harmony with the very land that we sit upon can be a huge emotional strain on you, whether even if you're conscious of it or not. Okay, let's activate our full grid now that our container has been set. So take a deep breath in. Exhale. We call to all guides, guardians, and beings of the earth. We ask permissions and blessings of those that support the highest good of all and the ascended aspect of earth. The divine beings that wish to support us here today, we ask your permissions and blessings. Thank you. We call to air, all guides, guardians, and beings of air that support the highest good of all and the ascended aspect of air, and all divine beings connected to air that are called to support us today. Thank you. We call to water, all guides, guardians, and beings of water that support the highest good of all and the ascended aspect of water, all divine beings. Thank you. And we call to fire, all guides, guardians, and beings of fire that support the highest good of all and the ascended aspect of fire. We ask permissions and blessings today. Thank you. Hands on your heart, please. We call to all holy, healed, benevolent ancestors now. We're asking permissions and blessings of you, our lineage, our roots, as we do this deep, deep healing work. And we call to all ascended masters, angels, archangels, multidimensional, multigalactic beings that support the highest good of all. We ask your permissions and blessings. Thank you. I'm going to activate your web grid now, crystallizing it. So calling in the web grid activation now. Creator, change it. Take a deep breath in from your heart. I want you to visualize now this beautiful grid connected at your heart system. And now visualize a cord running down from the center of your multidimensional, multispatial grid, right? It's not technically 2D, right? It's through multiple dimensions, down from your heart. And imagine this cord running all the way down your feet through the point of your ancestors at your feet, through your Earth Star chakra. And we ask permissions to connect in and ground into the earth. So asking permissions and then visualizing this cord, and you feel that permission given, going through the layers of the earth to the very heart of the earth. This is the mother. This is the representation of our physical journey here in this earth, the grounded aspects of our journey, the manifesting of our journey, right? The physical manifesting into reality. That is the earth, and she grounds us. So anchor in here and just feel that connection and that flow of energy rooting you down and just flowing into your heart and starting to run through your grid system. Beautiful golden energy of Gaia. Though you may see this different, I often see a green, a beautiful glittering green, like an emerald green, sparkling, connected to the earth. Whatever you see is beautiful and perfect, remember. Different cultures, different thoughts have different colors associated, okay? From the heart now, take that cord and now extend up up through your head, up through the point on your grid that connects in with the ascended aspect and your ascended guides, all through the angels, running it up. And we ask permissions to connect into primal source, the heart of creation, the point of oneness and infinite. When you feel that permission given, just running that chord until you feel that connection into your infinite aspect of yourself. This is that soul part of you, that ability to create and manifest from every possibility, that inspiration, that divine aspect of you. Connecting in here, feel that energy now pour down through that chord back into your heart and uniting both the infinite and the material, the grounded energy of the earth at the heart. Taking a deep breath at your heart here. We call in our higher self to anchor our entire grid system and this cord of energy and creating our full circuit to run our healing today. Calling in our higher self. Thank you. And then just breathing here, I'm going to begin running some energy for you all, and then we're going to go into the meditation. So, taking a deep breath in. I'm going to call in first. I'm actually going to call in a little bit, not the full ceremony, but I'm going to call in the a little portion of the heart crystal, Lemurian heart crystal alignment / activation. I do this in a full ceremony, but I'm going to use a tiny bit of it to help unlock. So this alignment specifically helps to unlock the heart so that emotions can flow, because often we've put so many locks on our heart, on holding in, that when we start running energy to clear, they're so stuck that they can't clear out. So this, I'm going to bring that in, like I said, not in the full, because we don't have time for that full ceremony, but I want to have that energy supporting you all. Okay, so this is one of the Lemurian alignments and activations. So just breathing here and bringing that awareness to your heart. I'm just going to call in the supportive energy of the Lemurian heart crystal now. Thank you. Now I'm going to begin running the 3 series, the emotional series here. So I'm just going to call them in and have some quiet space in between and then just build on them, okay? So I'm going to call in first the sacred soul alignment, anger and resentment release now. Allowing any thoughts, any angers, any emotions, conscious or unconscious, to come up and to be washed clean, to be healthily brought to the surface so you can release them in a loving way. As this energy is running, remembering that anger is often a protective mechanism. It's often a sign. Emotions are there as guideposts when we listen. So anger is often a sign of boundaries not being held. Yep, that's a big one. That's a big one, right? So I'm actually hearing that I want to bring in some support to that. I know I said I would do these in 3, but this is always what happens. They're always like, and throw this in, and throw this in. So I'm also going to bring in, make sure the babies are waking up. I'm going to bring in reclaiming your power and giving away your power. So we're going to reclaim some of that to really do healthy boundaries. So I'm just going to bring in that energy just to support you all calling back your power. Okay. So just calling that in now. Just visualizing and seeing anywhere that you've given away your power and having it returned. So you can visualize this actually as keys, as crowns for yourself, whatever you see. Just see that returning back to you. Okay? Good. Okay, so normally I do these in reverse, but I'm hearing that I need to bring in guilt and shame next. So I'm going to do that because I'm sure that in reclaiming our power, there are quite a few of us who have guilt or shame over either when we were angry, when someone, we felt like our power was taken, right? So I'm just going to bring that support in now. So calling in the sacred soul alignment, guilt and shame release now. Yes, that one was big. Having that energy that's flowing through you as things are coming up, being washed in the love of Source, your entire grid system. You have so many beings that are here to support you today. That grounded energy of the Mother, all here in love, supporting you. Okay, and I'm going to call in now the last one, grief and sorrow release. So I'm also going to welcome in, with its permission, I'm hearing the bleeding heart wants to come forward. So this is a flower, and flowers are very, very powerful allies. Plant medicine is. So I'm going to call them in together. The bleeding heart supports grief, especially the loss, if you're grieving a loss of some type. So this can be a loss of a loved one, the loss of an aspect of your life, a shifting in a situation, right? Anytime you're mourning something, and that can be not just people or situation, that can be all part of your life, right? When we shift lives, we have to mourn the death of an old life, an old experience. So I'm going to call this in together actually as a symphony. So I'm going to weave them together. So we're going to call in the sacred soul element, grief and sorrow release. And I'm going to call in, with its permission, the energy of the bleeding heart flower now. Whew. Yeah, that was big. I want to point out too, as this is running, remember, you can also mourn when you join in a relationship. You have children, you get married. You may also be mourning your independence, right? Because when you are, if you are meant to merge, and some of y'all in this lifetime, you might, if you have children, if you have a partner, or if you just decided, there's a mourning to that as well. It's a lot of mourning that is healthy and natural, right? Because it's an ending, so a beginning can happen. If you don't mourn, you often don't fully release. And that doesn't mean like if something really happy happens and you were good and you wanted to move, right? But if you feel there was a bit of a sadness or a shift, and you don't address it, that can often cause bottled up emotion. Okay. Clear that out. So if you don't know, I use yawning to clear energy. I'm not tired. I actually slept well last night. Breathing here. Okay. So for many of you, if you have never experienced the Lemurian heart crystal in work with emotions, that does intensify the work. If you need to slow it down, it should be running, because I didn't do it in its full form. But just be aware and keep your grid, lean into your grid for support, okay? This really is unlocking a lot from this lifetime and many, many past lives and lineage and all sorts of things, okay? So take a deep breath in. I'm going to ground this healing and we're going to move into the meditation, okay? So I'm going to anchor all this healing into every cell of your being, into your heart, into your high heart, into your entire web grid system now. Breathing here.